Good morning, everyone. Welcome to a little bonus episode of Log Talk with Pert Near Outdoors. This is your host, Billy, and bringing to you a little extra conversation this week with a fellow by the name of Troy Gokritz. And Troy is the man behind the Hunt Warz TV show that is just getting off the ground. You may have heard of Hunt Warz. It's been something that's been on a few of the larger podcasts in the hunting world, I guess I'd say. Troy's got a pretty unique idea for a TV show and very interactive with people, giving kind of the regular Joe the opportunity to get themselves set up with a pretty sweet opportunity to go hunt some pretty incredible hunts and have it all filmed and put together professionally for a television show. I'll let Troy kind of run through the details. We spend most of the discussion talking about that, but get into some other things that he's doing, which are pretty interesting. So I hope you enjoy this little bonus content here as we head into the weekend. Just a couple things to clean up on before we get rolling here. I did have some great feedback from the podcast that we had dropped on Monday, the conversation with Todd Waldron. Thank you all for engaging with that, and I hope that continues to get out there and spread. Really enjoyed that discussion and value Todd's insights and ways of explaining things. And again, just like I said in the intro to that podcast, I'm continuing to hear similar discussions on other hunting podcasts. So it makes me happy to hear that everybody's kind of thinking along those same lines and trying to communicate that. But it's definitely going to be something we can't just do and walk away. Got to stick with it and keep talking about it and keep informing and educating everybody of the discussions, the important discussions that need to happen, as well as the challenges we're facing as we move forward here. So very good stuff there. Todd wanted me to had one of the listeners and a friend of Todd's and mine reach out with a little correction from one of the portions of which we were talking about. E.O. Wilson came up. There's a book that I believe it's called Half Earth, I believe is the name of the book. I definitely encourage, it's something that's on my reading/listening list. I got to check that out by recommendation. But Todd, we talked about that a little bit, and I guess Todd kind of oversimplified the discussion, and glad that we got the feedback that there's more to the discussion than just the way that it was explained. Todd put a post up on his Instagram page following that feedback just to clarify and apologize, which I don't think an apology was necessary, but it's the beauty. It tells me that people are listening and people are engaged, and I think that's the important part of all this is that we put stuff out there, we talk about things. Things can be misconstrued or misunderstood or just explained incorrectly, and if nobody questions things or nobody says, hey, I think you might have got that wrong, we just kind of all just nod our heads and just keep walking in the direction. So good stuff there. I appreciate that, and that goes for any of the discussions we have on here. Welcome anybody to disagree with the stuff we're saying. Give us the feedback, and we're happy to maybe even have a discussion with you, the individual, on the podcast to kind of get the other side of the story or other opinions on those sort of things. So great stuff there. Thanks again to Todd and to everybody listening. And if you could help us continue to share that, whether it's just telling somebody about the discussion or sharing it physically, whether it be on your social media pages or whatever else. So good stuff there. Shedfest, we are marching right along, continuing to have some good interaction there, and people are definitely starting to obviously find sheds with the snow finally coming off. About 2 months worth of snowpack here is finally dissipating. So very excited about what this weekend and the rest of March and into the beginning of April will hold for finding sheds around here. It is a drug. I'm completely addicted, not only because I'm thinking about it all the time, but just it's so much fun to get out and walk deer trails and try to find some sheds and find out what's still alive and taking inventory for the upcoming season. So if you have not joined and you'd like to join up with the, I want to just clarify, it's not, it is a contest, but it's not a contest. At the end of the day, you're getting, I feel like you're getting pretty good value out of it. Overall, you're getting the membership for the National Deer Association, which is a $30 value in itself. So you're getting with your $30 entry plus shipping. I must say that shipping and taxes, I gotta, run a business over here, folks. But with your $30 to $35 purchase, you're going to get a T-shirt and a 1-year membership to National Deer Association. And whether you physically get out and shed hunt or not, it's a great way to renew your membership with the National Deer Association and get a cool shirt and just interact with the community on that end of things. So don't get scared away. And I'm thinking I might change things up in the future on how we do some of these things, because I think the word contest gets misconstrued here. Might do some sort of more raffle-based stuff so that it's not so much based on whether you killed something or found something, but it's more of everybody gets a chance at winning. I think those might be a little bit better received, but extremely happy with the turnout so far. Like I said, the goal's 100, and we are about 10 away right now from hitting 100, and I'd love to blow past that. So thank you, everybody. Head on over to pertneroutdoors.com. Check that out. Hope you enjoyed the discussion with Troy. Make sure you check them out on they have a website, obviously, huntwarz.com, but they're on Instagram and Facebook, and their videos should be posting any day now of season 1. I believe they're doing that on Amazon Prime, and I think they'll have them up on YouTube as well. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Enjoy the convo. Have a great weekend. Wash your hands and keep fading them. Hello. Yeah, that's your name.
Squirrels got me.
Big Jim.
Yeah.
Really, 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 really cold and fun.
Cold and fun.
Cold and fun.
That's good that you think that of it, because that's what deer hunting typically is cold and fun.
Yesterday morning, I'm glassing up on the pass, and I see these deer moving, and I'm like, ooh, there's deer moving. All of a sudden, I just see this person just head down, just hauling ass, wearing shorts and a t-shirt with a pack on. And I'm like, is that Tard? My dad always talks about floating through the woods like the autumn breeze.
So Robert's
when you're
the
275 pounds, I don't know how you do that, but
the Freightliner. It's just like a creeper. You're just kind of up in the corner watching what's going on down there.
yeah,
You know,
he's like,
he's up there slapping, pissing all over everything.
is it warm yet?
How did you know the name of the actor?
That's right. I know.
Why did you say his name?
Hervé Villagers.
You know what pert near means.
If you know what pert near means and you live in America, you're a redneck too.
Welcome to the Log Talk Podcast, brought to you by Pert Near Outdoors. Troy Gokritz joining us on Log Talk with Pert Near Outdoors today. Troy, how are you?
I'm doing awesome.
Good. So I've got you on here. You are the man behind Hunt Warz. So I've heard about you guys and been following along for a little while now, and thought it was a really cool idea. So thought it'd be something I wanted to get our listeners to hear about and learn about what you have going on with this challenge that you've put together. So wanted to get you on here, but also kind of give you a chance to introduce yourself and the man behind this whole operation.
Yeah. Thank you. I mean, it's fun to be on these podcasts and, the different outdoor groups and the see the different things that guys cover. Hunt Warz has been an amazingly cool project so far, and we're only through season 1 and just launched season 2. But, growing up as a hunter out West, I'm from Utah. It was, I've just always kind of been a competitive guy. I played baseball in high school and college and have done sports all growing up. But, you get to a certain age and then you start, wanting some more competition in your life. But I'm a diehard hunter. I've always been a diehard hunter. And the idea has kind of been, changing, I guess you could say, or formulating over the past couple of years. We've been thinking about it, and we always wanted to capture it in the right light. Like you talk about competition and hunting in the same sentence. Some people get a little squirrely. But then all of a sudden, all these shows started coming out, Alone and Survivor and all these competitions. And so it kind of pushed me over the edge of like, why not do one in hunting? And so as long as we, maintain the highest in ethics, we kind of, decided this would be a good platform to do it on. And we just went ahead last year. We launched it right literally as COVID hit. So we didn't have a lot of success getting out. We were planning on going to a bunch of expos. We were planning on we went to the Total Archery Challenge shoots, but a lot of those got canceled. And so we ended up having, not as many applications as we thought. And the whole idea is we wanted to bring an opportunity for guys to go on an amazing hunt. They show up, they don't know where they're going until about a week before the hunt starts. We pay for the landowner tags, we pay for the licenses, we get them a bunch of gear sponsors. And then we have these huge prize packs set aside for the winners. And I just thought, how cool would it be to put two different teams in the same area, same week, and deal with the general public, their public land hunts, and see who can be successful, see who truly is the best hunter out of that group.
Right.
And that's what this show is all about. And it's not about going and getting the big personalities, the influencers. This is like the show for the little guy. This is the show for the everyday worker. And that's what has been like probably the coolest thing about it, has been picking a team from Montana, a couple brothers that are in construction, and picking a team from Alabama with the Yorgs, and they were a mortgage broker and a businessman, and they came all the way out to New Mexico to compete in our elk hunt. So season 1 actually featured 4 elk hunting teams and 4 mule deer hunting teams. So that was what we decided on season 1. We actually have taken season 2 even bigger. So season 2 is going to feature more teams, but I kind of wanted to talk a little bit through season 1 and what happened. So
yeah, please do.
So I've kind of talked a little bit about the overview of the show and whatnot, and we can get into the scoring metrics and kind of the different ideas that we have. But this has kind of been a cool thing to have podcasts, because they usually ask me questions that maybe I haven't thought about, or that I can answer that the guys are probably asking themselves.
Yeah, and I think you hit like a nerve there, where I think a lot of guys wonder how they stack up against other people, or how many times have you heard somebody say, man, I'd love to see them try to come and do that in my backyard. It's easy to shoot 150-inch bucks in this area. Try doing that here. So what you guys have kind of harnessed is a little bit of that, where nobody really has an advantage. It's truly, you're going to a place that no one has pre-scouted. Nobody has any, information about what's there. It's like you're going out there trying to show what you can do as a hunter. And it's pretty cool.
Yeah. And season 1 proved that. It was really exciting. So, season 1, we drew the teams a little bit later than we wanted to. So season 2, we'll draw the teams earlier. We drew the teams like the beginning of August. So guys put in, they didn't even know if they were on the show till like actually mid-August, because what we did is we drew the teams, and then we actually did interviews with the teams to see their experience level, what species they feel most confident or comfortable hunting. And then we matched up, some of the teams that way. And so, you randomly draw we randomly draw the teams. It's $100 per team to put in. So, me and you were putting in, you'd put in an entry and I'd put in an entry. Well, that way we have, 2 chances to get in. Whoever's gets drawn is usually the shooter. So if you're drawn, you're the shooter. I'm going to be your partner, and, I'm going to be your caller.
Yeah.
And so we love it, because I love the idea of having 2 in camp, because they always bring their brother or they bring a friend. And it's just, who doesn't love to go hunt with your buddy? So we bought these tags down in New Mexico last year. They were really good, a really good limited quota unit. The dates were prime time. It was September 8th through the 15th was our first matchup. So right during the rut. The guys got down to camp about a day early. We shoot a little bit of background of, their family and, who they are.
Yeah.
So our viewers can see that. And then from there, we start the competition off with a little dinner, and we give them any pertinent information that we might, have. And this year, what we did is we actually had the camps separate. We had them about a mile apart from each other. That way, we just wanted to make sure that we weren't having guys follow guys, or that, we kind of thought through this very systematically of, okay, what could potentially happen. And it ended up actually being amazing. And we spent most of the time in camp together. We ate together. The guys came back. They loved, there were competitors during the day, but that camaraderie and that friendship and that kinship of hunting always comes out around the campfire, always comes out around dinner. So it was kind of fun to have everybody, eat dinner together and hang out. And we tried to capture a lot of that. And that's the one thing you're going to know about this show is there's no second takes. There's no like, okay, we need to redo this B-roll. Like there's nothing like that. This is as pure a hunting as we could possibly bring. Guys are wearing GoPros on their heads because the cameraman had to stay back. And we actually in season 1 in our elk hunts, we had one cameraman with the caller and one cameraman with the shooter so that we could capture both angles as well. And so, those guys showed up, and as every hunt goes, you've got public land pressure, you've got, hot weather, you've got just, bulls not bugling, you've got trying to figure out a new unit on your plate. And these guys have 7 days to get it done. And it was a grind, and it was a really fun project. And then we had a rest day, and then our second group showed up, our next 2 teams, the following week, which was the 18th through the 22nd. And so our first matchup was actually inexperienced guys. They've only elk hunted probably 2 to 4 years experience on elk hunting. And some of them both teams had never shot an animal archery elk. So it was kind of like one of those, like, hey, we've been elk hunting, we've just never done it archery and been successful. So the second matchup was actually guys that were from Colorado and Montana, and they had killed multiple bulls. And so that matchup was our more experienced matchup. And so those took place from that 18th to like 22nd or 23rd. I can't even remember, but we were in the field the whole time filming, and it was an absolute blast. And I can't wait for season 2 to be back out in elk camp. Like it was so fun.
Yeah. And that's something that if you're looking at this as somebody who's trying to get an opportunity to go out west and hunt, and somebody who has, your chances are not that awful of getting chosen, and you're providing cameramen to go with. It's not like you have to worry about managing the camera and everything else. Like when I saw you post up the second season, and I'm like, it's $100. I'm like, it's nothing. And if I'm going to split this with my brother, what the hell do I have to lose? Like, get in for $100. We have a chance to potentially go on a hunt together, and we're in. It's like, you're going to supply us with camera guys. And I don't know how many people, I know like the first season, the chances of people drawing was, like you said, was fantastic because you didn't have that many applicants.
Yeah.
So I would have loved to have known about it.
Yeah. Second season's caught on a little more, but still, you think about going to, so we hunted in 16C was the unit. I pulled the statistics up of a non-resident in New Mexico. First off, the tag alone, you have to actually output like $1,000 to just put in. I think it's like $700 and something for your tag, but you have to pay for it up front for the drawing. Then if they don't draw you, they obviously refund it. But the license in New Mexico is close to $100 that you don't get back.
Right. And
so we kind of aligned ourselves with, a normal application, but our odds are going to be probably better than most of the applications. The odds I looked at for drawing 16C for a non-resident was like 0.02%. And I'm just like, but guys put in for it every year, and there's no point system, so you're not getting any more points. And so we thought through that, and I'm like, if they put in for Hunt Warz, their chances were like way crazier than that. Our first year, I think it was like 30% chance like of drawing.
Yeah.
And really so you should like think like 1 out of 3 chances to draw this thing and to go on and exactly fully filmed. And I'm talking like really good film. Like we didn't skimp on camera equipment. We didn't skimp on video guys. We wanted to capture it. We had all the food in camp. It was a full blown, probably, I added it up. It was right in the neighborhood of $10,000 is what we spent per hunt. on food and tags and this and that. Like, and that's one tag. I'm not talking like multiple tags is double that. Like it's like 10,000 per hunt team that came out. And we, and now you're on a show. Not only are you on a show, but on top of that, if you win your matchup, you win another $5,000 worth of stuff. Those guys showing up got like, I would say probably between $2,000 and $4,000 of gear just showing up. Backpacks, binos, rangefinders. Like, we did a great job going and getting sponsors for season 1. And it, you know, it was so cool. And the prize packs are just going to get bigger. We're going to probably put more emphasis on season 2 on more of the prize packs and less on the gear that you get when you show up.
Right. Yeah, because I'm sure you get some of that where guys already have gear, you know, they already have their preferred clothing or their preferred backpacks or boots, binos, whatever. So yeah, I mean, I could see where that is, but I mean, you had to have done a ton of legwork. I mean, how long was this in the works for you to get this thing going? I mean, it obviously didn't just come together in a year. You must have had to make connections. I mean, were you involved? Have you been involved in the outdoor industry at all prior to doing this or no?
No, not really. I mean, when you say, you know, involved, like I've been on hunts, I've bought tags, I've gone and hunted different states. I'm pretty familiar with like Hunt Fool, which was a big sponsor for us. They helped us secure the tags. But honestly, a lot of the sponsorships were made literally like during last summer leading up to, you know, season 1. The coolest part about it is when we would call sponsorships and they'd be like, you know, we get called on new shows every day. Like, you get 10 minutes, give us your pitch and let's move on. And to see how many sponsors were just jumping on board, like, hey, this is a really cool idea. We think you can pull it off. You know, it gave me the confidence, even though we didn't have the applicants, to go ahead and do it. And I'm so, you know, if you were to look at money output to money, you know, coming in, people would be like, that was a bad business deal. You just paid for a bunch of guys, random dudes, to go hunt awesome units. But I wanted to create something that, you know, number one, a show that everybody can kind of relate to because it's everyday guys. Number two, I wanted to give people an opportunity to come on amazing hunts out west. And we're going to do, I mean, if you knew the ideas we have for season 3 and season 4, like this is going to be one of the coolest things I've probably done, you know, in the outdoor industry, just total, not even myself hunting, but watching other guys get jazzed and coming back and, you know, game planning and strategizing and all of that stuff, and exhausted because they push themselves so hard. You can't imagine how many times I get asked throughout the hunt via inReach, like, hey, are the other guys out? You know, are they back at camp? Like, and we don't usually give that information out. We just let the hunts play out. Guys can hunt as hard as or as not hard as they want.
Yeah. And I mean, competition, I think you hit on it right in the beginning. Like, I've had this conversation with a lot of guys on here that they played high school sports, they played college sports, they had something that, you know, they were a very highly competitive individual. And then now here you are in your 30s and those days are behind you. And like whatever you're doing turns into a competition, whether you're out bass fishing or you're trail running or you're hunting. It's like you're competing either against yourself or with someone else. So you know, you're scratching this itch with this whole idea you have, where my brother and I, every year we compete with each other to see who can shoot the most deer. That's what we do. And it's like, we've been doing it for years and it's fun. But now the idea of like, hey, I can grab my brother and let's go compete against other people. There's an innate nature where you're trying to perform, you want to be successful. And you kind of touched it too. Like with hunting, some people like the antis can look at it and like, wow, you're making a game out of killing something. And that's not really what it is, but from the outside looking at it, you know, and that's what you were talking about, is that you had to make it so it was sporting, you know, it's tasteful, but also it's showing, you know, where the competition does help kind of drive the storyline and drive people just getting out there and going hard. Like, I heard you on a couple of the other podcasts you did, like you were just saying, guys just working sun up to sundown, where they might on a normal hunt be back at camp taking a nap midday. It's like, no, they're out grinding, trying to beat those other guys. Like that's such a cool deal from it.
And it really is. And, what got me most comfortable with it is you look at like those other shows that have been pretty well received on Netflix, and this is like Alone, like they're out there just surviving, and it's whoever can survive the longest. And I'm like, this is just a little different spin. And all of us love the hunting scenes of that. I mean, maybe I'm just a hunter, but it seems like, the more the show went on, it was more just showing the hunting part of it, the survival part, or the fishing part. And so I agree with you. I don't, after shooting it, and if we were the mantra of just always going out and it's all about the horn size, but our scoring system actually set up really good for season 1. It wasn't just about the horn. So you did take the total gross score of the animal. That was your main score. But then we actually added in the maturity of the animal. So all the animals we took on season 1, we aged, and they got double points for the maturity. So if you shot a 5-year-old elk, you got 10 extra points for that. Then the third metric is where we really kind of honed in on the scoring was we did a shot yardage deduction. So your cameraman is filming. As soon as a shot was taken, he would range the animal and give you your shot yardage. Anywhere from 0 to 40 yards was a 0-point deduction. From 40 to 60 yards, you got a negative 10 points on your score. 60 to 80 yards, you got negative 20. And 80 plus yard shots with the bow was a 30-point deduction. And so we were pushing guys to get closer, to ultimately be the best hunter and get in closer, calling and sneaking and, all the things that go into it. And it was, it was such high ethics, and watching guys, that we chose for the show, they were so good at, the respect of the animal, the excitement that they get to take the meat home and provide for their family. And we did have a draw blood rule. So if you hit an animal that we felt like wasn't just a skimmed leg or something, there was legit blood on the ground, then that was your animal, and you had to hunt that animal for the rest of the show. And we had that actually happen, and the guys were, they were super bummed, but they took that challenge upon themselves, and they hunted that bull or buck the rest of the time as hard as they possibly could. So, unfortunately that's hunting, and sometimes you hit that, but we wanted our show to make sure that we weren't going out and shooting another one or shooting 10 different animals. It was really cool. And we set all those expectations up front. So if you're drawn for the show, we do an interview with you. We go through all of these rules. If you're not okay and on board on them and sign off on them, then we refund your $100 and we pick another team out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good idea. And that's something unique about your deal too, with it being, you have a lot of control over these hunts and the production of these hunts as they go down. Whereas, some of these huge contests that are out there, are solely driven by antler size, and it's all, whether it's self-report or there's just a lot of stuff that could be going on that you don't know that it's all above board. Whereas in your situation, you have a lot of control. So yeah, that's definitely it's just a factor there more than anything.
Well, yeah. And to hit on that, that's kind of one thing why we went above and beyond and got the cameraman and picked the tags, because I've entered in those big buck contests, and it's statewide. You're like, where did these deer come from? Or it might even be as good as unit wide, but you've got so many variables out there that could be manipulated. And so with us picking the tags, being in camp, and our videographers being the referees, there is literally no room for, funny business. It is the purest hunting. And the coolest part is the quality of video. It's top end. And we're going to be releasing our first episodes here shortly. It's taken a while for us to get it to where we want, and we're really excited about it. So our first episode should drop right around the first part of March, which I don't know when this podcast is going to air, but it might be out by the time we're done here.
We'll be putting out next Monday. So it'll be,
cool.
It'll be posting up probably right around the same time that you'll be airing that. So where,
Cool.
So how are you planning on doing an episode at a time, like a weekly deal, or what's your game plan?
So game plan is, first off, you can find it on YouTube, which is Hunt Warz TV. That's our TV channel. You can also find it on Amazon Prime. And then we did do a partnership with Carbon TV, which is a big partnership for us. So you'll be able to watch it on all 3 of those. How we're looking at dropping the episodes right now is we'll probably do the first 2 episodes of the first matchup on the first day, and then probably weekly after that, all the way through all 8 matchups. So, and we've got some really cool matchups. One of our mule deer matchups featured Aaron Snyder of Kafaru and South Cox from Stalker Stick Bows. So every year we're going to add a matchup where we either pick a celebrity, a brand versus brand matchup, something that the general public would just be interested in watching 2 different people go at it.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to keep, so season 2 has 12 hunts, or 12 teams, 6 hunts. There'll be 2 teams per hunt. We've got 2 antelope tags, so there'll be 2 antelope teams, and that will be a different scoring metric than just the horn size and all of that. And then we've got 4 elk hunting teams again, and this year we're doing King of the Camp, which means you'll have all 4 teams in camp at the same time hunting the same week, and it's whoever can kill the biggest, and we'll do the maturity and we'll do the scoring like we did last year, but you're against 3 other teams instead of just 1 other team. And then our mule deer hunts, we're actually moving to rifle hunts this year. And those will be 2 versus 2 matchups. And then last, we threw in some duck hunting teams, 2 duck hunting teams. So that's season 2. When you apply, you're applying for all of them. And, I get a lot of feedback, or not feedback, and, some emails from guys saying, hey, what if I'm not a duck hunter? Or what if I'm not really interested in the antelope? We do our best to get you, the hunt you want. So if you're drawn, we draw 12 teams. We're going to start calling those teams, and then we'll start matching them up the best way we can, experience level to experience level. And, if these guys are really diehard mule deer guys, we'll do our best to get them on the mule deer hunts and make everybody excited to be on the show. I mean, it's just exciting to be on the show, but if we can deliver on that side, I mean, last year the guys were ecstatic, and we moved some stuff around and swapped some teams out, and it was really good. And we had 1 team last year, unfortunately, the dude blew his shoulder out the 3 days before the hunt. Oh. So you can imagine the stress level was like, I was literally like headed to Arizona the next day, and I get this call from a team that's like, hey, I was at work and I blew my shoulder out. So we went right to Instagram Live. We pulled in, I put all the teams in a hat, and I just pulled out a team, and I called them, said, hey, can you make the hunt work? And, fortunately they could. Yeah. And we drew another team, subbed them in. So this year we'll be drawing 12 teams, but we'll also be drawing alternates for each matchup. So you'll have a chance, if something does happen, we already have a team ready to sub in for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I was wondering what the scenario was with that, because I tuned in live there and watched that, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. I'm like, these guys just got drawn to go on a hunt in Arizona like tomorrow. Yeah. It's like, this is nuts. So I got to figure out, I'm sitting here wondering, if I get drawn, how do I tell my wife? How do I coordinate all that? Because I want to go out west pretty bad this year, but I just don't think it's going to happen. It's just a lot in life going on right now. Yeah. But I'm pretty confident that if I was to draw, I don't think that there'd be a lot of kickback there, but
Well, the nice part is you'll have a lot more planning this year. So we'll draw our teams I think June 16th is the last Total Archery Challenge that we have scheduled to be at. So we will draw the hunters on the 17th, and you'll have all the way till, the first hunts aren't till August. And what we want to capture this year is we actually want to capture more of the preparation. So a lot of our teams are going to be sending in updates and be on podcasts of what their strategy is. And, we're kind of excited to have that side of it. Last year, it was just like draw and then get ready for the hunt. This year we'll have workouts posted for, what guys are doing to get ready, shooting sessions. And I think that'll be kind of some cool content, and that will be more on our, social media platforms and stuff. And then the actual hunts will be on the videos and on our YouTube channel, and they can go check it out there. But we wanted to kind of capture the story behind the story, the preparation. Because all of us, you know, when you go on a hunt out west or you go on any hunt, it's almost as much excitement building up to the hunt as the hunt itself.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you live out west. I mean, I'm from Buffalo, New York. So, you know, when we do a trip, it's a year, it's
It's
a
a big
year,
deal.
year and a half in advance. You're planning that, and it's a 24-hour drive, and there's so much that can go wrong. You know, I've talked about it, all those stories on here, but it is, you're so right. Like the preparation, that's half of what drives our spouses crazy, because we'll all get together, you know, all of us friends, but we all hunt together too. And it's all we will talk about for like hours on end. Like, how could you talk about this every time? It's like, it's just all that matters. It's like all we're thinking about is going on this trip, whether it's to Pennsylvania or Colorado or whatever. But which tax are you going to?
So we're gonna be in Texas, Tennessee, PA, and Michigan this year. So we'll be on the East Coast heavy. I felt like the East Coast wasn't represented last year, so I'm hoping that we'll get a lot of teams from the East Coast. I mean, that's one thing I would say. Like, I think a lot of guys get nervous about being on camera, or, hey, I'm just not right for this because I haven't hunted out west. But that actually was one of the main things that I loved about season one. Just to give you a little insight, we had two brothers from Montana. They were actually a little bit, you know, they were late 40s, mid 40s type guys. They're not young, you know, young bucks like a lot of the dudes. And they were pretty quiet. But as the week went on, they kind of started getting more comfortable with the camera. And those dudes were straight up killers, straight up killers. Like, they were unbelievable. They had tons of knowledge about elk hunting. I mean, you watch that episode and you will come out of that like, holy cow, that was sweet, you know?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the stuff that I really love about it, is you're getting different personalities. And if you're quiet, you're quiet. Like, that's okay.
That was weird. I lost you for a second.
Yeah, sorry, lost you. A little glitch.
Sorry.
But that's kind of my thought is yeah, it's kind of nice to just have regular guys on, and you don't need to be the most flamboyant personality to be on the show. You really don't.
Well, and that's the beauty of having cameramen, is that, you know, it is uncomfortable. I have a podcast and I'm a salesperson. I talk for a living, but you pull your phone up and you start doing a video and you're like, Jesus, I look like an idiot, you know? So, but you have somebody who's got the camera and they're worried about that and they know where to be standing and how to do everything. I could see where that could make it a little bit easier on somebody than trying to manage all of that. I mean, there's a lot of guys that do incredible work self-filming, and I give them a ton of credit, because it's really hard to make that come together. So, you know, having a video crew to do that for you, and I'm sure that those guys, they're fairly professional and they know how to make people feel comfortable and do that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, the cool part is with the show is we always tell our guys, hey, you're hunting together. Don't look at the camera. You don't even need to worry. The cameramen are just there to observe what you and your partner are doing. So 98% of the time, unless you're dinking around with the cameraman, you know, laughing about something that happened, 98% of the time you're talking to your brother, your partner, whoever it is. And when you're game planning with them. And so the camera doesn't really have a big effect on guys. And the cameramen do really good jobs of like, okay, I'm just going to be behind you. I'm going to be right in lockstep with you. And guys get real comfortable real fast. And I'm, you know, I was super excited about season one. Season two, now that we have season one under our belt, we know what, you know, where and what and how and all the things that we learned through season one. Season two is going to be an absolute riot. Like, it is going to be so fun. So I'm excited for the hunts. I'm excited for the different competitions. We're actually even adding, and I haven't actually told a lot of people this, but we're adding a subcategory this year that we'll be launching in March, which is called Become a Hunter. Okay. So we're going to have Hunt Warz, which is for experienced guys, anywhere from 1 to, you know, X amount of years experience. But now we're actually adding a subcategory called Become a Hunter for anybody who's never hunted that's wanted to. And we'll either assign them a mentor, or if they have a mentor, to take them through the hunter safety process, the workout regimen, and we're going to get them ready to go compete on Hunt Warz as a first-time hunter.
That's a really cool idea.
Yeah, that's the subcategory of Hunt Warz. So now we've got the Become a Hunter series and the Hunt Warz series.
Nice. Yeah, that's cool. Who came up with that? Was that just something that maybe came up in camp, or?
No, that was just me. I'm super passionate about getting people into hunting that don't know. And, if the naysayers really understood the respect level of hunters for, there are the bad actors out there, but
Right.
real hunters have more respect for animals than probably any non-hunter out there. And they can say, you kill them, but every time we take a life, we know exactly where that life is going and who it's feeding. And I don't see any difference in eating, beef from the store as opposed to me harvesting an elk. A life was taken regardless. And I just thought if we educate people on what it takes to become a hunter and walk them through that, and then see a total random individual going on their first hunt, harvesting their first animal, and then, eating that animal, I think it will shed a light on hunting that no one's ever seen before. And so I'm going to capture that. We're going to put that on, and it's going to be sweet.
Yeah, that's cool. Good on you for doing that. Cause I think everybody, and I've talked about that on here too, no matter what your reach is, what you're doing, if you have the ability to impact, and you have an infinite ability to touch and impact people with doing something like that because of the video platform you have. So that's really cool to hear you're doing that. That's thinking outside the box and doing something different. So that's cool stuff there. I look forward to seeing that.
We're excited. I mean, season 3, I'll give you a little tidbit. I'm flying up to Alaska September 1st to scout out a fully drop-in do-it-yourself moose camp that might come and feature season 3 Hunt Warz Alaska, full-blown, fly you in, drop you off. Both teams are in camp trying to kill the biggest moose.
Jesus.
If we could just, and I always talk about, if I could just realize people's dreams through this, the excitement and emotion already comes out. It's crazy to watch the excitement and the gratitude of the hunters that come out and do this. And just that right there, it just shows that this show is, built the right way. It's targeting the right people that get to come out and actually go on these hunts that maybe never could do that. And the gratitude and the them pushing themselves to hunt as hard as they can. Like, that's no question. Like, they do.
So, and I mean, for you, I assume this is a business, right? I mean, you're in coming years, you're hoping to be making money at this. Is this your full-time gig, or do you have something else you're doing?
Between this and the mother company of Hunt Warz is Hunt and Fish Connection.
Okay.
So Hunt and Fish Connection is a auction platform for hunting and fishing trips. So you go on, you log on, you become a bidder, you get notifications on new hunts that come up, and then you can go bid on those hunts. But Hunt and Fish Connection is actually an amazing, we've got like 170 Utah conservation tags that'll be auctioned off over the next 90 days. And if you've ever wondered what a tag costs, like these big high-end tags, you can log on and watch our auctions live. It is insane. I'm talking guys that put money into hunting out west. It's awesome to see. I've always heard that the Reno, Nevada SCI show has more private jets at it than any sporting event or concert, ever put on. And you have some big money guys that go throw some big money. We had a tag sell just this last Saturday night for close to $40,000, an elk tag for Utah.
Yeah.
Over the next coming months, we'll push up over if not $200,000 for one tag. And all that money goes back into conservation.
That's what I was just going to ask. Can you explain how that works? Because to us here in the East, that is just something that nobody understands, because we buy our $100 license, we get 4 deer tags, and there's more to it, but you're not spending hardly any money. So everybody gets so freaked out about spending $600-$700 for an elk tag to go to some of these Western states. But explain. You're onto something there, and I'm interested to have you explain how that works.
Yeah.
If somebody buys a tag for $40,000, what does that mean?
So how it works out west is, and Utah actually does the very best at this. They dedicate quite a few tags every year to these conservation groups: Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, Sportsmen's for Fish and Wildlife, Mule Deer Foundation. Like you probably heard of all of those. Turkey Federation, the Ducks Unlimited. They all get an allotment of tags. And so basically how it works is they usually have a banquet and they sell that tag off in the banquet and they auction it off to the highest bidder. All the proceeds go back into conservation, so they're tax deductible. So if you're looking for a way to spend tax dollars, you need to spend tax dollars, which a lot of big wig CEOs, corporations need to find ways to, curb their tax bracket. That's a great way to do it. So it's like going out and you're buying, we sold a Pavant elk tag. The Pavant in Utah, that unit produces some of the largest bulls every year, and it's super, super limited. It takes you as a resident 20 plus years to draw that unit. As a non-resident, probably 25 to 30. So you think about putting in for 30 years, or you could go buy this tag at a conservation banquet. Well, last year when COVID hit, there were no more banquets. Right. And so they came to me. We were working with outfitters directly and having them auction their hunts off. And then the conservation groups came in and said, hey, we need an online platform. Would you be willing to do this? And me being a hunter and a conservationist myself, and I bought tags and, very involved that way. We took them on and we sold 42 conservation tags last year in 2 hours, and we raised $1 million off of 42 tags.
That's fantastic.
And so all that $1 million that went to the Sportsmen's for Fish and Wildlife was divvied out into a bunch of habitat projects, whether it's chaining areas to make a better, winter ground for mule deer or elk, or putting up drinkers in certain situations. So all the projects that are funded out west for wildlife are from these tags and these conservation groups. So that's kind of how it works. And a lot of states don't participate to the level Utah does. So for example, Arizona, they only auction, I think, 4 or 5 tags, but they're like statewide elk tag, Arizona strip tag. Those go for anywhere from 200 to 300,000.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
they're
and
big.
I hear like governor's tags and like stuff like that thrown around. Like, are those similar? Like, is that like an auction type style? Okay.
Yeah. The only difference through a governor tag is it's a statewide tag as opposed to attributed to a certain unit.
Okay.
So like the Arizona commissioner's tag is a statewide tag. That means they can hunt from July all the way to the next July, and they can hunt with any weapon during any hunting season. So they have like full reign of the whole state.
Yeah.
And if you watched it, A3 Trophy Outfitters was the guide on that. And Jimmy John from Jimmy John's Sandwich Restaurant was the actual guy that bought the tag. And he ended up shooting a 450-inch bull, like total public land. Yeah, I mean, crazy. And pretty cool that he goes and spends that money to help out conservation.
Yeah, I think that gets lost. I think in public perception, if you don't understand the way that the tag sales and that money works, you see those big dollars, just like, oh, that disgusting businessman. But it's like they just donated $200,000 straight to conservation. That's how all of this stuff is getting funded. So I think more and more people are becoming aware of that, because it is such a big talking discussion point on podcasts and a lot of podcasts, but some of the video stuff, you got Meat Eater, they put a lot of stuff out in regards to that. It's good. Like, more people becoming more aware, but I had no idea we would discuss that, but that's cool to hear that you're engaged in that sort of stuff too.
Yeah. So if you go to Hunt and Fish Connection, you can usually watch the banquets live on our site. We've got it streamed right there, and you can bid on the tags online. So, it's funny because you take somebody that doesn't know about it, they think it's really snobby, but most of the time at the banquets, everybody cheers and is like clapping and standing ovations to whoever wins the tag. And it's mainly because they know that money, $200,000 for a deer, like no one in their right mind is going to pay for that. But $200,000 to give donation to a conservation group is one of the most selfless acts. Like, I think it's pretty cool that these guys go spend that money. And I wish I had the money to go spend, because it really does benefit all of us tremendously.
No doubt. And such a unique time too, without being able to do these banquets. And our family every year up until last year, we go to our local NWTF banquet, and, we would spend quite a good amount of money cumulatively as a family. And you have an incredible opportunity to win stuff that, because whether it's a raffle or if it's something like that. I mean, for a very minimal amount of money, you can walk away. I want a pistol. I want a Kimber pistol for $100. It's like, it's a freaking screaming deal. But all of these sort of things are so great, but now that they're gone, it's good to hear that and I've seen it, our local organizations are doing, online type of auctions and things, but it's still not the same. The in-person stuff is irreplaceable. Right. I would love to be at one of those things when somebody drops $200K on a tag, and I would have to imagine the room's got to be electric, because what just happened. It's going right back into it.
Yeah, and that's why Hunt and Fish has been a really fun project and a company to build, is because we bring that to everybody. So anybody can log on, they can watch the bids roll in, keep an eye on tags throughout the week. We start them a week earlier than the banquet's and then the banquet end, and they usually auction them off live at the banquet. And so you can bid on them all week long up until the live auction, and then they usually close out the bids that way. But I mean, last year with the SFW, when we did that, it was a blast. I mean, you had, bids just reeling, like that number going from, a starting bid of 1,000 up to $50,000. It's just like bam, 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 bam. And I mean, as far as just watching, it's fun to log on and watch. And we've got the camera angles and like some fun video stuff that goes down in these banquets, and so you get to feel like you're kind of there. So if you want to, you can log on to Hunt and Fish Connection, and you can go see those banquets, and we keep you up to date on when they're going to happen. Our next one's the Mule Deer Foundation and a Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation on March 6th. We have 10 turkey tags on right now for the Sportsman's for Fish and Wildlife. They're Utah conservation turkey tags. We've got a Warrior Rising cool pheasant hunt on right now that you get to go hunt with 10 NFL players and 10 veterans. Oh. And it's a pheasant hunt in Iowa. So yeah, we've got some really cool stuff going on the Hunt and Fish side. That kind of funded the Hunt Warz season 1. And season 2, we're excited about Hunt Warz as a company is going to grow, and we've just got a million ideas. Yeah. The Become a Hunter series, I think, will kind of take off. We're going to do 4 cow elk hunts. So those guys will end up going and shooting a cow elk this year with their mentor. And then we're going to end that one with them eating, that cow elk meat and taking it home to their family. So we got a lot of cool stuff going in. That one actually, the winner is declared off of whoever brought the most meat back to camp.
Nice.
Cool. So they'll have a weigh-in, Yeah. So that has nothing even to do with horns, and it's still a competition, but it's a fun competition. And the real win is that you became a hunter in this process. So
yeah, it's awesome. Freaking, it's good stuff, man. That's why I love doing these discussions too, because I just knew I wanted to just chat with you, and I had no clue where we were going to go with this. But the Hunt and Fish deal is awesome. Hearing how that connects with this, and then how you're getting involved with trying to engage new hunters and educate people. That's just all around fantastic stuff. We were talking about Total Archery Challenge. I'm looking forward. I'll hopefully get to meet you. We'll be at Cool. The Pennsylvania TAC.
So. Oh, you're going to be at the Pennsylvania one? Yeah, we'll be out there. You'll come to the booth. We usually set up a t-shirt shoot, which is always a blast. So we set up a target. You have to hit a certain dot at 30 or 40 yards or whatever. And then we give you a Hunt Warz or Hunt and Fish t-shirt. Nice. And we've had a blast doing those events. And that's mainly just to get applications, guys that maybe didn't hear about us to be able to apply. One plug I would put in is, and you've seen this, we do a giveaway every week. Like right now, we've got our OnX giveaway for 2 OnX memberships. And we will do a giveaway pretty much every week for all the applicants of the Hunt Warz family that, have gone and applied. So if you're thinking about applying, you're not only, like you said, you want a Kimber pistol for $100. I think we gave away a $400 sleeping bag, $600 rangefinder, $250 sheep feet, $200 to peak refuel, the 2 guys, 2 Onyx memberships, which are $150. Like, you win one of those and you're already in, you've already made your money back. So we've kind of brought that same mentality of banquets and giveaways and stuff like that to the Hunt Warz world. So if you're thinking about putting in huntwarz.com, it's $100. It's really simple to apply.
Perfect. Well, I'm notorious for running these podcasts to like 6 hours long, and I feel like that's probably a good spot to close it out.
No, we're good. Yeah,
So,
we're good.
Yeah.
I'm just really grateful you had me on. Thank you so much.
I'll be watching. We'll be watching. I hope to see you guys continue to grow. I think you got a great thing going, and I encourage everybody listening to this to go check those guys out. And if you're interested in a little competition and a little adventure, I think your $100 will be very well spent. So
yeah. Thanks, Billy.
Thank you, Troy, and we'll see you in June.
Yeah.
Pennsylvania.
Yep.
All right. See you, man. Thank you.
Yep.